Antarctica is more than penguins and ice. Australians have been fascinated with the continent for a century, ever since Douglas Mawson's celebrated expedition. The National Archives holds a collection of equipment, diaries and artefacts, and they're all now on display. Siobhan Hinu reports.
When Mawson's expedition set out 100 years ago, Antarctica really was the final frontier. Unknown and unexplored, it was like crossing a threshold without knowing what was on the other side. This show spans Australia's history of exploration in Antarctica from Mawson to modern expeditions.
It's 100 years of history, so it's a lot of ground to cover.
The archives have taken objects from a wild terrain and created a sensory landscape for viewers.
We came up with this touchscreen display where you have the Australian Antarctic Territory spread out in front of you, and it's as though you're travelling towards it by boat.
As well as documents, there are sound recordings, video and pictures.
The important thing about archives is generally documents, and we have an amazing collection of documents relating to this history, and they're on display, but people also like to engage with things in different ways.
Thanks to a new partnership, there's more to share than ever before.
We recently signed a records authority with the Antarctic Division, so we're bringing in more and more of their archival material into our collection.
But it's some of those items from the earliest voyages that are the most astounding to behold.
Frank Stilwell's man-hauling harness, so hopefully you get a sense of what it would have been like to pull one of these things stacked with equipment. And we also have a lovely display from a man called Thomas Lydiard, who was an able seaman on the Aurora and must have got quite friendly with the expeditioners because he collected some artefacts, he collected some geological samples, a penguin egg and things like that.
Visitors can look back at those seminal journeys to Antarctica and get a taste of the sort of science being carried out there now. For many, it's the closest they'll get to the icy continent.
Only a small percentage of the population will ever get to visit, and it is a wild place, and it's still a dangerous place, even with all our modern equipment. You know, there are still fatalities.
And the Australian Antarctic story is still unfolding.
Indeed, Siobhan Hinu with that report.